Hello, Tandlers. Welcome back to TandL Talks, the podcast for, about, and featuring fabulous educators. I'm your host, Nancy, and I am so excited about today's episode. Today, we're doing something a little different and honestly a lot powerful. We're turning the mic over to student voice. I had the incredible opportunity to sit down with 4 AVID ambassadors from Rogers High School. Students who are not only thriving in their own learning journeys, but who are also leading, mentoring, and representing what's possible for others. And I want to give a special shout out to the adults behind this work. AVID teacher Colleen Pancake, whose impact and care came up again and again in this conversation. And Rogers High School Principal Jason Smith, a true champion for AVID and student leadership. This kind of student experience doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of strong, intentional leadership. You're going to hear firsthand what AVID really looks like through student eyes, how it builds confidence, creates belonging, and opens doors to futures that once felt uncertain. But even more than that, you're going to hear what happens when students find their voice and realize that it matters. So whether you're an educator, a student, a leader, or one of our amazing Tandlers listening in, this episode is a reminder of why we do this work. Let's get started. Hello, Tandlers. Welcome back to TandL Talks. I'm your host, Nancy, and I am here today with a team of student leaders from Rogers High School. Can you introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Logan Kane. I go to Rogers High School. I went to Stall Junior High, and I've been an AVID for 3 years now.
Hi, my name is Malia Perkins. I am an AVID ambassador for the past 2 years. I went to Carson Elementary and Stall Junior High.
Hello, my name is Madison Smalling. I've been an AVID for 3 years. I'm a running start student. I also have went to Stall Junior High and Carson Elementary for all of my life. I've lived in Puyallup all my life, been in the Puyallup School District all my life. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Jada Kamin, and I've been an AVID for 3 years, and I went to Carson Elementary, and I went to Stall.
Carson's represented here today. Well, I'm glad you're all here. I always like to start out by asking my guests to tell me about a teacher who had an impact on you.
I'd say my Spanish teacher, Miss Langston, had a huge impact on me because the way she taught was very good. And I feel like Spanish is hard to teach. It's a language, and it's to kids who are already grown. I know languages are easier to learn when you're younger. So it's hard to teach kids who might not even want to learn the language, who are required to learn the language, to learn the language. And it was just good with her because she made everything seem like fun and good. And she had snacks for everyone all the time. And everything was just good. She even had deodorant and stuff for kids who needed it. It was all good.
Yes. How about you? Who's a teacher who had an influence on
No,
you?
I love that question. I would say my math teacher from 6th grade all the way up to my 9th grade year, Mr. McCullough, he taught me. I used to struggle a lot with math. It wasn't my thing. I always has been that science nerd. I loved biology, loved chemistry, loved learning about the animal anatomy and stuff. Really getting a teacher that not only cared about really helping us learn about all the topics and all the units, but also gaining that connection on a personal level to help you feel more comfortable in his classroom. And having moved from Carson Elementary, he moved to Stall Junior High, and then he's moved out to Tennessee now, but having all those years and him being in the classroom with me, it really taught me that you really can get close enough with your teachers, and it helps your learning immensely, having that support and feeling that sense of community in that classroom.
Absolutely. Thank you.
For all my years in the Puyallup School District, I have not encountered a lot of teachers that I don't like. Some big ones. I have my big 3.
Okay.
I have Miss Bishop. She's the front office lady at Stall Junior High. She's like a mom to me. She's so amazing. I still go and see her to this day. And then Miss Pancake changed my life. I don't think I could get through high school without her. And then Mr. Smith, he's awesome. totally like very cool to be around, and he breaks down a lot of barriers for me, and I know that I can go to somebody for whatever I need for both of my lovely AVID administrators. They're awesome, and I'm definitely provided with the support and help that I need through all these connections in the Puyallup School District.
Yeah.
I love this question. Like Madison said, throughout my years of being in Puyallup School District, I've had no complaints. All the teachers are amazing, but one teacher that really sticks out for me is Mr. Kidd, and he was my English teacher. And he's just, I think why I love him so much is because he's introverted, but like you're a teacher, so you need to be extroverted.
I would describe Mr. Kidd as lenient and supportive.
Yes, and he's funny, but he doesn't try to be funny. And like when you're reading Shakespeare, you're snoozing, like you want to go to sleep. But with him, he makes it interesting. And I've always loved English, so that just made my love for English just so much better.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for sharing. I ask everybody that question, and it just is validating, I think, for all of us who are in education, because what teachers do matters. The relationships that they build with students matters, and hearing that directly from you is super important. So thanks. So let's talk a little bit about AVID. How would you explain AVID to someone who's never heard of it?
AVID is a program that is implemented in some schools, no matter who you are or what you stand for, what your background is. There's a place for everybody in AVID. AVID prepares students for their career or college after high school. A lot of kids are not fully informed in their high school career about what to do after, and AVID has definitely secured my pathway of going to law school and going to get all my degrees that I need. I feel 10 times more prepared, took my stress down a lot. So AVID is my foundation, and I hope for it to be everybody's.
I would say, yeah, to simply explain it, I would start at college and career readiness. And I think it's important to not only include college because first when I joined AVID, that was my only thought about it was just college. But as I learned, it teaches you just about everything post high school plans. So it's anything that students need to do post high school. So that's why I think AVID really is a place for everybody. And not only that, I feel like it just helps with school. Even if you don't know what to do, I feel like it helps you get there and helps with school in general because I took AVID in 8th grade at Stall, and then in 9th grade, we didn't have it at Stall anymore. So I feel like going from my 8th grade year to my 9th grade year, I really understood that how AVID gives you the organization skills and the preparation and all the skills you need. Because the difference in how I performed in my 8th grade year to when I didn't have AVID, I saw how much AVID really was set like stone that I really needed to help my academic career.
And I also want to mention, yes, like they both said, AVID does really help with your schooling and after high school decisions that you want to make, but also it's the relationships that you make when you're an AVID. And there's this process, it's called TRFs, and that's where it's student-led and students come together and they collaborate and they make relationships that have to do with college and their goals.
And everyone's touched on amazing topics of AVID, from the AVID family that you grow and the community that they grow, and really having that home base to fall back to in the beginning of the school year, especially coming from a junior high into the high school realm. It can be intimidating, it can make you nervous, all the new teachers, new students. There's a larger amount of students coming from a junior high, and really having those TRF groups build that community and build all of those post-high school skills that colleges are looking for, and not even just colleges, military, technical college, apprenticeships, all the above, really helping you build that base to grow off of. And even personally, I've always wanted to be a doctor of veterinary medicine. I had that aspiration since I was little, but I didn't know the building blocks to go in between that. And having AVID has taught me all of the college searches and the scholarship searches and everything that really needed to build that, and having the people around me to support that and ask the proper questions and ask proper concerns and really build that comfort in learning where I need to go and how I can get there.
So tell me about your AVID journey. How did you get started? You said you started in 8th grade.
Yeah, I started in 8th grade with, I would say it definitely is a little different from high school because once we get to high school, it was definitely more planned out and structured. It's Miss Pancake too. AVID does have to do with the educators, and Miss Pancake really did have a lot of set stone building blocks for us to path out what we needed to do next. And I would say 8th grade wasn't as much like that, but I feel like it was fine how it was because it just set kids up for what they needed to do next. And then once you get to AVID in high school, it's set what you need to do to get to where you want to go. It's already planned out. All you have to do is join AVID, and it's already just there. The support and organization is already there.
When I also started in 8th grade at Stall, our teacher was Miss Crossley, and she's awesome. She was a great AVID teacher. She was very interactive with her students. It was definitely a different environment from high school AVID. 8th grade AVID was opened up to our class whenever they didn't have enough signups for the 9th graders to produce an entire AVID class. So they opened it up for the 8th graders. And I think that was one of the best things I've ever done. That really influenced my aspiration to continue AVID through my high school years. I definitely plan to take it next year. Even though I'm in Running Start and I don't come to the high school for all 6 classes, I still make sure to include AVID in my schedule because it is super detrimentally important to my education.
Yeah, and I would love to touch on that. I had no idea in AVID junior high. Even being in the same year as these guys, there was nobody around me. I had no friends that were in AVID. I had no family that was in AVID. It was actually not until my freshman year going into my sophomore year, I went to a college and career fair at Rogers, and there was a table set up with an AVID ambassador as well, but she was at the table and she just talked to me about AVID. I walked up to the table, I saw the photos, and I saw all of the college searches and college campus tours, and I was like, that was really interesting because I knew my path and wanted to go into college for a year and be a doctor of veterinary. And asking all my questions and learning about the program, I really learned that this place is for me. I've always been driven. I've always wanted to go above and beyond academically, and I wanted to build a sense of community, especially coming into that high school realm, not knowing anybody, not knowing any teachers, and really having that feeling and that comfort that the AVID family is real and that they were going to have my back no matter what. And she helped introduce that to me, and I signed up, and it was the best decision I could make. Meeting Miss Pancake and getting involved with more of our school and getting introduced to Mr. Smith and Miss Capacy, our amazing AVID counselor. And yeah, it's shot-rocketed, and I've become an AVID ambassador now, and it's my second year being an AVID ambassador this year, and
we met the AVID CEO.
yes.
No big deal.
Yeah, we got the opportunity of meeting the AVID CEO this Tuesday, and it was an amazing opportunity learning not just about AVID in our school, but how worldwide this program is and how amazing that it has been for everybody. I mean, he even gave the example of walking through the SeaTac airport wearing AVID gear. Somebody's going to run into you and ask about your story and why AVID, how much have you enjoyed it, and you really build that connection with just anybody. The AVID family is real.
Wonderfully said, Malia. So how I started AVID is there was the sign-up sheet because, like Madison said, there wasn't enough people. I was also in Madison's AVID class in 8th grade. Miss Crossley was a wonderful teacher. She did amazing things for the program, and she really, I think her mission was to have everybody come together, because I remember this one time it was like a TRF, and like we needed to explain steps on how to make things. And I remember these kids in my class, they wanted to make ice cream. So they had to look up how to make ice cream and whatever. So they made it in front of the class. It was amazing. And after that, I really was like, wow, this isn't just like an elective. This is a lifestyle. It really helped me, and it like made me build connections with everybody.
Just having satisfaction with your grade, it very much produces what we need to succeed in high school.
And to add to that too, I feel like Malia was talking about it, how people just notice in AVID, and Jada, how we kind of found about AVID too. We actually have our brother who was in AVID before us. He talked about AVID a lot. That was the main big class for him. And we know that he didn't like school like at all. But it just showed us how AVID really was needed regardless, because it really just helped him get to where he needed to be. And now he's doing it, and it just showed us that as our role model that we should do something just like that, and we're glad that we did.
Yes, Logan, I 100% agree. And yeah, he would talk about how amazing Miss Pancake was and how she always had food and she was always there for support.
I'm telling you guys, food reinforcement in school is very important.
It works.
Did you hear that, teachers out there? Food is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes kids happy.
Yes, it does.
Even adding on to what Logan and Jada were touching on, having that family connection to AVID and really being able to introduce that to you, which is why I was so heavy on going to Stall Junior High or going to Blue Junior High and having these seminars and bringing all of those 8th graders and upcoming 9th graders to learn about the program and encourage them to take it.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit more about the ambassador role. How did you become ambassadors?
Miss Pancake actually, she was like, hey, I think you guys would be perfect for this role, and you need to sign up and you need to explain why you'd be a good candidate. And so everybody signed up or whatever. And so then we had our interviews and we were in this room and Miss Pancake was there. And then
We had our counselor, Mr.
sometimes Mr. Smith would come in there, but they would just ask us questions on why we would be a perfect candidate to be an ambassador.
This ambassador role is basically like what we first thought of it as when we first got it. We were like, oh, so we're Mr. Smith and Miss Pancake's minions. But now that I've learned it's a lot more than that, it's definitely a privilege. This is the biggest thing I've ever done with my life. This past week, obviously, I've gotten to come on a podcast I've never done before. I was participating in Decision Day. We were all a very big role in Decision Day, and it was very stressful. We took time out of our class periods to make up our work and put on a very nice show for these seniors and their parents to hopefully go to the next step and succeed in life. It was amazing. But ambassador was not required for Decision Day. We had all of our ambassadors wearing these polo shirts for the showcase, which is
They're a big event to really demonstrate the opportunities that AVID demonstrates for their students.
we have lots of representatives from other schools in Washington, people really far away. Sunnyside came. I got the privilege to be with Federal Way's AVID department, and it's very cool people. We prepared very rigorously for that day. It was so awesome to have all the lights on us during our student panel, and we have builded skills that are obviously going to help us form new relationships between not just our AVID ambassador group, but through the entire school.
Yeah, and I actually find my story kind of funny how I became an AVID ambassador. I was actually just leaving my AVID elective, leaving the class to go to my 3rd period to choir, and Miss Pancake actually chased me down in the hallway and was hollering at me and asking me to stop to come talk to her. And her question to me was, how well can you talk to adults? And I was like, very well. I feel very confident, very comfortable talking to just about anybody. And she's like, perfect. You're going to talk to me later. The next day, I was given a slip to come to the office and come to the ambassador meeting, and there I was. It was just a huge opportunity. And after I learned more about what being an ambassador is and going above and beyond for not just the AVID program, but for our school to really demonstrate that AVID isn't just a tutor help class. It's to help reach your full potential academically, emotionally, and professionally, and even socially, in not just your school, but post-high school. Going into wherever profession or career you choose to be in, it's building those skills and giving you those academic opportunities to learn about colleges, learn about scholarships, learning about financial aid and how to get that. What are the requirements for that? We all have the questions, we just don't know the right way to ask them or who to ask them to, and AVID really gives that benefit and advantage to us.
Logan, how has being an AP student affected your ambassador qualities?
That's
so
great.
how do you relate your AP classes to your ambassador work?
Ambassador and not AVID work specifically, I would say my ambassador work takes time away from my 1st period class at times or my 2nd period class at times because I have APs during the morning. And it has taken me out, but it's also given me back in ways. It's taking me out of my AP chemistry class, which is the hardest class I've ever experienced in my life. But I gained things. I think what this ambassador opportunity is really first, it was us kind of fully understanding AVID as a whole. And then I think it goes more into promoting AVID. And then I think that's just where we learned all of that at the beginning. It was just so short. And then now we've just been promoting AVID as much as we can and learning so much about AVID through the whole process. We started by we would talk to junior high students, we would talk to Rogers students and kind of explain what AVID is. Especially since I've been an ambassador, I've heard more people or if I mention AVID, people are talking. I hear people talking and wanting to learn about AVID now.
Yeah.
Other people want to join AVID.
Yeah.
And I think
love
that's really just what was meant to happen when we became ambassadors, just to promote AVID. We have the showcases, which help, and we learn other things about people, and we're there to promote AVID. And then we just had decision day, and that was, I would say, one of our biggest events. We got to meet the CEO of AVID, and we got to meet the superintendent, the new superintendent of our district, Kevin Alfano. And it was good just meeting.
Great guy.
Yeah, it was good meeting both of them and promoting AVID. And then we got to hear experiences with AVID with both of them too. And it was good just hearing everything they had to say. But yeah, and I feel like that's kind of where it gave back to me in ways. I would say my AP classes, I lost study time. I lost some note taking that I had to do, but I gained valuable. I was able to promote AVID, and I was able to learn more things about AVID and do these things and catch up on chemistry later, because that's what AVID already implemented inside.
You definitely gain more than you learn. And Jada, I think you realize that with having to waiver your PE credits so you can stay in AVID.
Definitely.
So why is that important to you?
AVID, so like Logan mentioned earlier, we went to Stall Junior High and it wasn't offered in 9th grade. AVID was a really core class for me. I'm already an organized individual, but when it comes to paperwork, I can be a little, you know what I mean? But with AVID, you have to do organization checks. You need to make sure that you have your backpack clean and all that stuff. So for me to have AVID, it's like a core class. I wouldn't call it an elective. I call it my core class because I also do running start. I get ready in the morning and then I have to go to school. I have to go to Rogers and then do AVID and then I have to go to my college classes. And people always ask me, you can do an easy class or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, well, I just love AVID and it's a core class for me and it helps me.
I am hearing so much about leadership from all of you, right? Your leaders in your building. I also love the outreach that you're doing with other students, especially younger students. And you are just great representatives.
Thank you.
I
Thank
also
you.
think representing our school district for our new superintendent, for the CEO of AVID. That's a unique position that you're in, and super glad that the four of you are there to do that work. So you've talked a lot about this, the AVID community. Let's talk a little bit about what does that feel like at Rogers? I can tell the four of you are very connected. You're doing outreach. Why is that community so important?
Yeah, I would love to touch on that. Kind of wrapping back to our showcases and getting the opportunity to meet other representatives and other schools that incorporate AVID in their school. Like how Madison got the opportunity to talk to Federal Way, I got the opportunity to talk to Olympia High School and learn about how different their AVID program is compared to how we run it. And this community, with the showcases and going to our junior highs and doing these almost seminar forums to talk to our students, has really demonstrated how large AVID can grow. And it has really demonstrated how talking about what the program is, like how I mentioned before, it's not just a study help. It's not just about TRFs. It's about all of the college searches and scholarships. And like how Logan had mentioned earlier about how walking around the school, if you bring up AVID, people now want to talk about it because they don't see it as just a help.
I feel like not only that, but as I became an ambassador and started learning more, Mr. Smith mentioned to me that Rogers really is a self-led school. And I really took the time to think about that. And I'm thinking about AVID, and AVID really does just implement the self-led skills that people need. I feel like AVID is just one class that a lot of people take, but I think even with the people who don't take it, it spreads throughout the school and creates the community and culture that we have. That's a big thing about AVID. As we studied the framework too, the culture is very important. A lot of those things were very important. So I feel like the self-led aspects that we're learning inside AVID was definitely implemented to make Rogers become more of a self-led school.
In our tutorial groups, you can be paired with somebody who you have no clue who they are. You never met them a day in your life. But you will all share a common aspect of AVID, and you all share a common goal to go somewhere and do something positive with your life. And I think that's truly beautiful, and I feel very honored to be able to influence the younger generation for years to come. And next year, I'll be very excited to try and tutor freshmen instead of sophomores.
In the beginning of the year, when we're in our groups and we're assigned who we're with, we have nothing in common and it's like really awkward the first 2 weeks of school and you're like you're quiet and stuff like that. But when it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, like I'm excited. I get to see my tutor and I get to talk to her. I get to talk to everybody in my group.
Tutorials is not something I dread anymore.
Yes.
Avid's never been anything that I've dread. I definitely agree with our CEO. He made a statement to us about how you need Avid for multiple years on end for your skills to stick. And I truly feel that because 8th grade me does not have the Avid skills that I have my junior year. My junior year, after 3 years of knowing Avid, knowing 3-column notes, knowing how to fill out a Cornell note paper and take my organization skills and apply them somewhere else, I couldn't have done it without this beautiful program.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
definitely think that what she said with 3 years being needed to implement those skills into your life forever, I feel like that's important. That's why it's important for us to implement AVID into the school, or why AVID is implemented into everyone, and we try to spread AVID to people so everyone can get the AVID skills and everyone can be the best version of themselves.
So, what's one thing that teachers should know about supporting AVID students or really students in general?
Yeah, I feel like one thing that teachers could do to advocate for their students is really working to break down the barriers early in the school year with their kids. Not so much bribing them with food and treats, but more learning their learning styles, understanding what works best for their students and with different class periods. Some people prefer to type their assignments, while some people prefer handwritten assignments, and really understanding how that could work and understanding not so much what AVID students need, but how AVID can be incorporated school-wide for everyone else to learn the Wicker learning system and the note-taking skills and understanding how to properly overcome those barriers academically or even emotionally with not only their teachers, but with the peers around them. Shuffling in seats in the classroom, sitting with new people, not keeping the same group all year, really encouraging that new community and that new connection. AVID tries to maintain old connections previous school years while building new connections, and I think all classrooms could do the same and help that.
In our AVID foundation of what the program is, it's called our framework, and we actually have a section of what AVID-based teachers do. And there's 4 sections to it. It's breaking down barriers, aligning the work.
Insisting on rigor and advocating for students.
Insisting on rigor is applying work that is going to challenge the students, but not depreciate their confidence for school. So there's a lot of ways that teachers can do that. They can give us the resources we need. They can provide support, emotional support, mental support, referring kids to some services. We see that a lot in our classrooms. It's all networking. So trying to get from one aspect of AVID to the next is through the students and the teachers. So the teachers need to put in that work and put a step forward to really try to support their students, even if they're rejected. I think it is super important that every student is included in what AVID stands for, and these teachers are awesome enough to do that, and that's just a really key part of AVID is the teachers.
I think also it's the opportunities that AVID gives to people. I feel like that's what a lot of classes or schools who don't have AVID
Yeah, they
could
lack
definitely
that.
learn. The opportunities I feel like are very important because it's not much about students and their achievement gap they have. I would say it's more about the opportunity gap. If everyone has the same opportunities, they could all achieve the same things. It's just what they choose to do. But with the opportunity gap, I would say with people not having the same opportunities, it's unfairness, but
Yeah.
it's just
Whether that's financial gaps, that's still an opportunity gap, and it is teachers and administrators' job to provide these resources that these students need, and this is just setting them up for the rest of their life, and we want to make sure we can do that as much as we can for this generation.
Yeah, I feel like Jada, you could talk more about too, especially in AVID, how Miss Pancake or even any AVID related things help advocate for the students.
Yes, I would love to touch on that. Like Logan said, the opportunities are wonderful. We're all here because of AVID, if you really think about it. And we were able to talk to the CEO. Like, who's doing that?
We're still dwelling on it.
Yeah,
I
So-
bet. Guess what? I've never met the CEO of anything, I don't think.
Yeah, and we get these wonderful opportunities to talk to these very important people, and we get those student panels where we're trying, like we said, we're trying to disperse how this program is amazing for students and
Yeah.
teachers. I want to recall a time where we were doing the student panel, and at the end we were saying goodbye, we were being respectful, and somebody from Federal Way, they're like, wow, you guys are a great example of AVID, and you guys are going to light the world on fire.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah, I feel like it's just the resources that are given, especially with AVID. I feel like even at the beginning of the year, if you need anything with Rogers as a whole, teachers have folders for you. They'll give you folders, notebooks, paper, pencils, pens. All you have to do is ask. And I feel like that helps with the opportunities people have, because the opportunity barriers are being broken down because all the resources are being provided for all the students.
Like supplies and stuff like that, materialistic things, but they also provide support, emotional. If a teacher sees that you have your head down or you look super tired, they're going to walk up to you and talk to you about it.
Malia, could you tell us about some of your experiences with faculty or administrator and teachers at Rogers High School that you can actually see reflected from the AVID classroom and our behaviors that are underlined?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of our English portfolio classes or our art portfolio classes that are requiring presentations or requiring you to talk in front of a large crowd. Having AVID teach you those professional skills to talk in front of a crowd and take the proper notes and learn all of the skills to have that confidence to stand up in front of everybody and here, this is what I'm presenting, here's my paper, here's my topics, here's my closing, and you walk off confidently like you just owned the stage. Not everybody gets those opportunities and gets all of the ability and the skills to gain that confidence. Not being an AVID, I probably would not have been able to sit in front of a podcast and a mic and confidently just talk without being a stutter mess. I've heard tons of stories like that, or even sitting on the student panel when we're bringing it back to the showcases, talking to people that have higher ranks than everybody else in the room kind of thing. It's like you're able to look at them as human beings. You're able to look at them as they shop at the same grocery store I do and they're buying the same produce I am. And here we are in the same room just exchanging all of our accomplishments and how we are going to be little fireballs and rock stars. And we're going to make great change and great things in our community, not just our school, but everywhere we go from college and up. Yeah, thank you.
So, if there are listeners out there, if there are maybe students who are thinking about AVID or parents who are helping their student enroll in classes, what advice would you give them about AVID?
Do it. Just do it.
Well,
What did Mikey say?
yeah, like I've said, it's been especially proven with me because I had the year without AVID, and I definitely learned that AVID, it's guaranteed to give you the opportunities, it's guaranteed to give you the resources you need, and it's guaranteed to help you. A lot of kids, whether they think they know what they want to do or don't, there's definitely more planning and there's more things they could help to prepare themselves for their future that they might not know about. And I feel like AVID is going to help, whether they know it or not, or whether they think it is or not. I feel like AVID definitely is going to help them regardless with any future they're looking forward to.
Yeah, 100%. Going back to my story, wanting to be a doctor of veterinary, I didn't know the building blocks I needed to get there. And having gone through, we did a bucket list essay. We did long-term and short-term aspirations and talking about our goals and learning how to write an admission essay for our colleges, learning what websites are reliable and what aren't, learning how to properly look for opportunities and access to different websites that are wanting to help us and wanting to really give us our full potential academically or professionally and socially and all the above. And being an AVID really gives everyone that equal opportunity and that sense of belonging, that home base.
One thing I think that is important to keep in mind when you apply for AVID is that AVID is not a place to come if you just want to slack off and not do anything. AVID reinforces schoolwork. AVID makes sure that you are successful. You are held to a high standard because you are put in this class for a reason. To get an AVID, you actually have to write an application. For a lot of classes, that's not required because it's just provided, but we want to make sure people that are an AVID actually want to be there. That helps build a strong community. That helps build many relationships between people because we all have the same goal. Like I said, we all want to succeed, and it's amazing what it does to a student when they're surrounded with people that actually care about their well-being and their success.
And I think AVID, if you look at all the students that have done AVID, they've all gone somewhere. They've all had a plan after high school, and I feel
Whether
like,
that plan is fulfilled or not,
yeah,
it is required that you have a plan,
Yeah.
you have an idea of where you want to go.
And I think for any of the parents that are listening, or even the kids, AVID ensures that you are going to be something and you're going to go somewhere. It doesn't matter if you're struggling financially, if you have no idea. AVID, there's an end goal, and AVID provides that end goal for you. And yeah, it breaks down barriers.
Regardless of who's an AVID too.
Yes.
Just the diversity is
Yes.
there. Anyone of any background and anyone looking for any future, it's just there for every student.
Really trying to build that individual determination for
Yes.
everybody.
I was just telling my mom that I have 2 older sisters that graduated from Rogers in the class of 2021 and 2022, and neither of them took AVID. And now that I have, and I've experienced it firsthand, I'm like, wow, I just wish they could have, because it would have been very helpful for them to navigate through the rest of high school.
And just their future in general.
It's very, very nice to know that this does take you somewhere and it's all worth your time.
Well, thank you for being here in the TandL Clubhouse today.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for
Thank
having
you so
Of
much.
course.
Yes.
You just make me really proud, and it's exciting to hear about your leadership. It's exciting to hear about the great things happening for our AVID students, and thank you for representing so well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wow, Tandlers, I hope you felt that. What stood out to me most in this conversation is that AVID isn't just about academics. It's about identity, opportunity, and belonging. It's about students seeing themselves as capable, as leaders, and as future ready. When students describe AVID as their foundation, as a community, even as a lifestyle, that's a call to all of us. A call to keep building systems where every student has access to opportunity, where relationships matter deeply, and where student voice isn't just included, but elevated. I again want to thank Colleen Pancake and Jason Smith for creating the conditions where this kind of student leadership and ownership can thrive. What we heard today is a reflection of that vision in action. And to our Rogers High School AVID ambassadors, Logan, Malia, Madison, and Jada, thank you for your leadership, your honesty, and the way you represent your school, our district, and your peers. You truly are making an impact. And to our Tandlers out there listening, here's something to reflect on. What are we doing in our classrooms, in our schools, and our communities to ensure that every student experiences what these students described? Thanks for joining us for this fabulous episode of TandL Talks. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep listening to the voices that matter most.